Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Govindana Vallabha Girivardhari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Govindana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Bhattachandra Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Sodanandana Bhajanarajana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yasodanandana Bhajanarajana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Bihari Govindana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Bhattachandra Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Sodanandana Bhajanarajana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Ashtatatara Shata Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Thank you. Thank you. Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nastapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki. Read today from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 53, Text 13 to 17. So I guess 17 is written on the board. So we'll read the 13 to 16 first. Hiranyarupya vasamsi tilam cha gura mishritam pradadenuscha viprebhyo rajavidi vidam varaha. Translation. Outstanding in his knowledge of regulatory principles, the king, this is King Bhishmaka, the father of Rukmini Devi. The king rewarded the brahmanas with gold, silver, clothing, cows, and sesame seeds mixed with raw sugar. Text 14. Evam chedipati raja damagosha sutayavai kariyamasa mantradhyai sarvam abhyudayochitam. Translation. Raja Damagosh, Lord of Chedi, had also engaged brahmanas, expert in chanting mantras, to perform all the rituals necessary to ensure his son's prosperity. Text 15. Madhuchud birkajanikai shandaner hema malibihi patyashva sankulaila sainyai parita kundinam yayo. King Damagosh traveled to Kundina, accompanied by armies of elephants, exuding mada, chariots hung with golden chains, and numerous cavalry and infantry soldiers. Text 16. Tamvai vidar padipati samabetya vipapujyacha nivishayam asamuda kalpitanya niveshane. Bhishmaka, the lord of Vidarbha, came out of the city and met King Damagosh, offering him tokens of respect. Bhishmaka then settled Damagosh in a residence especially constructed for the occasion. The occasion is the marriage of Rukmini. Everyone at this point thinks it's going to be, not everyone, but many people think it's going to be to Shishupal. But Krishna and Rukmini have other plans in the works. Text 17, which is on the board. Tatra Shalvo Jarasandha Dantavakra Vidurata Ajagagmush Chaitya Pakshiyaha Pundrakadya Sahasrashaha Tatra Shalvo Jarasandho Dantavakro Vidura Rath Ajag sorry Ajagmush Chaitya Pakshiyaha Pundrakadya Sahasrashaha Tatra Shalvo Jarasandho Dantavakro Vidurataha Ajagmush Chaitya Pakshiyaha Pundrakadya Sahasrashaha Try. Tatra Shalvo Jarasandho Word for word, Tatra, there. Shalva Jarasandha Dantavakra Vidurataha. Shalva Jarasandha Dantavakra and Viduratha. Ajagmuhu came. Chaitya of Shishupal Pakshiyaha, taking the side. Pondraka, Adyaha, and others. Sahasrashaha, by thousands. Translation and then a short purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Shishupal's supporters, Shalva, Jarasandha, Dantavakra, and Vidurath, all came along with Pondraka and thousands of other kings. Please repeat. Shishupal's supporters, Shalva, Jarasandha, Dantavakra, and Vidurath all came along with Pondraka and thousands of other kings. Purport. Those familiar with the history of Lord Krishna's life will immediately recognize the names given in this text. The kings mentioned here maintained a deep animosity towards Sri Krishna and opposed him in one way or another, but they were all to be frustrated and defeated on the occasion of Shishupal's would-be wedding. Manjana Timarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamupakadamayam Nadati Swaparantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarne Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Tamal Krishna Goswami Niti Namane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll read all the verses again, leading up to 17. Outstanding his knowledge of the regulative principles, the king Bhishmaka rewarded the Brahmanas with gold, silver, clothing, cows, and sesame seeds mixed with raw sugar. Raja Damagosh, that's the father of Shishupal, Lord of Chedi, had also engaged Brahmanas expert in chanting mantras to perform all the rituals necessary to assure his son's prosperity. King Damagosh traveled to Kundina accompanied by armies of elephants exuding mada, chariots hung with golden chains, and numerous cavalry and infantry soldiers. Bhishmaka, the lord of Vidarbha, came out of the city and met King Damagosh, offering him tokens of respect. Bhishmaka then settled Damagosh in a residence especially constructed for the occasion. Shishupal's supporters, Shalva, Jarasandha, Dantavakra, and Vidurath, all came along with Pondraka and thousands of other kings. So this, like in India, weddings are quite a big deal. They often last for 3 days, and it's a major event in the family's life. Major expense for the father of the bride. And so from this story 5,000 years ago, it shows that in the Vedic culture the marriage was quite a big thing, especially if the bride was and groom were in royal Kshatriya families who had a lot of power and wealth. So we see here that thousands of kings came because Shishupal was supposed to get married it was kind of a victory for the friends of Shishupal and his father, and who all were opposed to Krishna. So it's kind of like quite a lineup of big demons came to the wedding. Sports, they have all-star teams in which the best athletes play in one game with all the stars. So they all come together for some competition. So in this case, all these big demons, of course sometimes they would come for battles, but they also came for the wedding, which would, as we will see, will lead to some battles. So it talks about, this verse on the board talks about some of Shishupal's supporters, Shalva, Jarasandha, Dandaka, and Vidurath. So in this world, there's a saying, birds of a feather flock together. So usually the demons and devotees like to associate with each other. Prabhupada says that for doing anything in this world, association is useful. So even in the material world, like they have the Chamber of Commerce, the businessmen associate together, there's Lions Club, things like that. To make money, people associate together and come together and work together to support each other. The word here is support, his supporters. So this is the nature of this material world, is divine and demoniac natures are different. In the Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra says, Mama, what is it? Yeah, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. So Mamaka means my group. What did my men do in the battlefield? And they all were kind of from the same family connections, but the Kauravas and the Pandavas split up. And mostly it's the demons who split away from God and service to the Lord. So Dhritarashtra had this vision of my friend and my enemy in the glorious stories of the Bhagavatam, especially of Prahlad Maharaj, the young boy whose father was Hiranyakashipu, a big demon. Prahlad preached very beautifully against this whole idea of friend and enemy, that for a devotee sees in the heart of every living being as the super soul. And so the devotee is not on the bodily platform and doesn't tend to see friends and enemies. We have the story of Lord Nityananda seeing the very sinful brothers Jagai and Madhai with compassion, and this helped them become devotees. They had a change of heart because of the compassion of Lord Nityananda. So devotees tend to see not so much friends and enemies, but the demons are very oriented towards polarization or division for the sake of sense gratification. Materialists will cooperate quite well, sometimes even better than devotees, because they want to get some prize for sense gratification. So they will cooperate. Prabhupada had a phrase, honor among thieves. So a group of thieves will make a great plan for robbing a bank and have a great getaway scheme, and somehow they get away with all the money. They work really beautifully together to steal money, to rip off money from someone for whom it belongs. And then sometimes the thieves will cheat each other. But there's this kind of funny phrase, honor among thieves, like one thief says, okay, now we got $50,000, there's 5 of us, so let's divide it up. And if he only gets 5,000 and the other get more, if he doesn't get 10,000, he's going to be upset. He said, we got to be fair about this. We're honorable thieves. So we got to, you can't cheat each other. But but Prabhupada often says this material world is the world of cheaters and the cheated. So the nature of this hope for honor among thieves is a kind of a pie-in-the-sky dream. And unless we give up the thieving propensity, aham, mameti, all this is I, my, and mine. George Harrison had a song all through the night, I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. So we always in this consciousness of I, me, and mine. I, my body, me, my false ego, mine, all of these material possessions for my sense gratification. But a devotee is saying, thee, thy, and thine. He's seeing Krishna as the proprietor of everything. Bhoktaram Yagitapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He's the controller of all the lokas or planets, the whole creation, spiritual and material. So he sees Krishna as the proprietor. Everything is thine. It belongs to Krishna, not his. So it's different from I, me, and mine. Thy, thee, and thine. So there's a nice verse that describes how Krishna is so merciful that when the demons come together and he has to oppose them and sometimes kill them, it's for their spiritual benefit. So in the second canto of the Bhagavatam, there's a nice verse, which I'll read the translation. All demoniac personalities like Pralamba, Dhenuka, we've read about a lot of these demons in the earlier parts of the 10th canto, who Krishna killed, or Balaram killed some of them. Pralamba, Dhenuka, Baka, Keshi, Arisasura, Chanara, Mustika, the wrestlers, Kuvaya, Pita, the elephant, Kamsa, the king, Yavana, Narakasura, and Pondraka, great marshals like Shalva, Dravida the monkey, and Balvala, Dantavakra, the 7 bulls, Shambhara, Vidurath, and Rukmi, as also great warriors like Kamboja, Matsya, Kuru, Srinjaya, and Kekaya. They would all fight vigorously, either with the Lord or Hari directly, or with him under his names of Baladev, Arjuna, Bhima, etc. And the demons thus being killed would attain either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets. So this talks about how Krishna, like in the hippies say, it's all good, brother. But it's not all good in their material consciousness. They're contaminated, they contaminate others, they rip each other off. And they're ultimately susceptible to birth, death, and old age and disease. So it's not all good, but the hippies have a saying, it's all good, brother. But for Krishna, it is all good. Everything is either Krishna himself or his energy, and all the living entities are all good in the sense that they are part and parcel of Krishna, are spiritual in their nature. And Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha, he's all transcendental eternity, knowledge, and bliss. And the living entities are potentially Satchidananda Vigraha if they simply play the game right, serve the Lord, do their duty, their dharma. If we play our role correctly, then everything will be nicely supplied that we need, and we're all happiness and success in life. But the demons don't want to play that role. They don't want to be a servant. So this whole situation of Rukmini marrying Shishupal is very instructive, because it's a classic situation in which one person, Rukmi, the elder brother of Rukmini, he doesn't want to cooperate with the plan of the Lord. The plan of the Lord is to marry Rukmini. Even all the people in Kundinagram and the area of Vidarbha, they all the common citizens who aren't big demons think it's kind of not so nice that Rukmini has to marry this Shishupal. They would much rather see her marry Krishna. But Rukmi this is the plan of the Lord, and this is what actually finally happens. But Rukmi, due to some false ego, some envy of Krishna, he comes up with another idea. And scientists and materialists are always coming up with so many ideas. Some of them are very impressive in terms of controlling the material energy. But the ideas that don't include surrendering to Krishna are ultimately foiled. And in the 60s there was a saying, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So the solution is to get out of this material world. The solution is to give up the attitude that Rukmi has of rebelling against Krishna's plan. So Rukmi is part of the problem. Just like in the Mahabharata, Duryodhana, he was a big part of the problem, and devotees like Arjuna, Vidura were working for a solution. Even Krishna tried to make peace arrangements, but there was no compromise on the side of the Kauravas. So here we have a similar situation where Bhishmaka, the father of even the father of Rukmini, would rather see his daughter marry Krishna. But I think Rukmi was probably the oldest brother, is that right? So usually in the Vedic culture, the older brother, oldest son, is given some honor because he's supposed to kind of lead the family when the father passed away. And so, the father, Bhishmaka, was thinking, well, my son wants Rukmini to marry this Shishupal, so just to kind of give him support so that he learns how to be a leader, I'll kind of give him support. So it may have been a difficult decision, but that often happens in the Vedic culture, trying to give support to someone to learn to think on their own and so forth. So Rukmi had the idea and his father backed him up. So all these amazing arrangements, thousands of kings coming from all over the world, all over India, beautiful, like in America, if somebody gets married, they might all, like some people rent the temple. If they have a little extra money, they don't even get a horse for the bridegroom rides in on a horse, right? You don't see elephants in America much at functions. The elephants are kind of expensive even in India because they eat so much. But in America, you might rent a hall, might get a horse. But here we have Bhishmaka was decorating the whole city, watering all the roads, making decorations on the roads like big arches, and spending so much money. In verse 13 he gives gold, silver, clothing, cows, and sesame seeds mixed with raw sugar to the brahmanas. And then even the father of the bride, King Damagosh, He also engages Brahmanas to chant mantras, and I'm sure he gives them donations. He might have brought some Brahmanas from his kingdom also. We know that he brought so many soldiers. Like when they had the grand opening of this Char Dham. We have a friend who's from Orissa, and he started a temple in the north part of Houston, and he brought in all these Brahmanas from Orissa and New York and New Jersey and California, and had a big ceremonies. So Dhammagosh might have brought some of his own Brahmanas. And it's described that he brought these Brahmanas for chant mantras and do all the rituals to assure his son's prosperity. Shishiyal Nilamadava ki. So although Dhammagosh may not have been as demoniac as some of the kings who came, like Jarasandha, Dantavakra, and Shalva, it's described that he didn't have the Brahmanas do these rituals for his son's spiritual edification, but for his son's prosperity. This was the hang-up of Duryodhana. He wanted more of the land, more of the power, more of the prosperity than the Pandavas. He was so egotistical. He said that I won't give you. At some point they had finished their time in the forest and they wanted some land, some area to control, being Kshatriyas. And Duryodhana said, I won't give you enough land that you could put on the head of a pin. So that's the demoniac mentality. So much is mine now, I'll get more in the future, and I'll overcome my enemies, I'll push them down, I'll pull myself up. That's the demoniac mentality. So all these demons come for the wedding, as we read in today's verse. So Shalva was a friend of Shishupal, and as Keshavananda Prabhu mentioned, a lot of these asuras or demons, they worship Lord Shiva for a certain power. Shiva is a great devotee, but in the Vedic culture there's a certain principle that someone takes shelter of you, you don't totally neglect them. So Shiva is known as Ashutosh. He's easily pleased, and sometimes he gives material benedictions, but usually these benedictions work against the person that wants the benediction. So Shalva, at some point, I think there might be I guess that's not it, but one time Shalva, I think after this the marriage of Krishna and Rukmini, he wanted to get even with Krishna, so he did austerities and got Lord Shiva's benediction to get a certain kind of vehicle that could travel anywhere, and that this vehicle couldn't be destroyed by demigods, demons, humans, Gandharvas, Rakshasas, etc. So the demoniac people want as much power as possible. So just like Hiranyakashipu wanted benediction, he could not be killed by anybody. So Shalva wanted the benediction, this vehicle from which he could attack Krishna and the Yadus, couldn't be destroyed by any human beings, demons. So these are arrangements by materialists. They try to circumvent the laws of nature. They try to live forever. Even Walt Disney is said to have had his body frozen or something, thinking that maybe in the future some cure for his disease would come, and so they try to circumvent the laws of nature, but they're always defeated by Krishna. As we'll see, Krishna will defeat all these friends of and supporters of Shishupal. So there's Shalva, there's Jarasandha, who we've heard about in the earlier chapters of the 10th canto, who attacked Krishna 17 times. Materialists are never satiated in their desire for control and power and domination and sense gratification, so they're to be commended for their determination. Like Rukmi was quite determined to have his sister marry Shishupal, but if it's not the plan of the Lord, like Prabhupada said, I got my plan, you got your plan, and Krishna has his plan. So I'm sorry to give you the bad news, but Krishna's plan always comes to happen, and your plan and my plan may come about or may not, depending on if it lines up with Krishna's plan. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we're trying to go against this whole trend of the material world to work against Krishna's plan. Everybody has false egos. There's so many billions of people on this planet, and there's so many billions of false egos. And so many billions of false egos, like Prabhupada said, if you throw a rock in a pond, if you throw it in the middle, all these nice concentric circles will come. And they're kind of little waves of water, little circles of water will emanate from the central point. But if you throw many different rocks in different parts of the pond, it'll become the waves will clash with each other. So here in the material world we have billions of Rukmis, billions of people like the brother of Rukmini Devi, who has his plan, and he doesn't give a damn whether his plan matches the divine plan or not. He's going to push his agenda, if necessary, by force. Just like in this material world, if you're in a racist place, the cops will usually side with the racists. So like in Chicago, there's recently one guy was finally punished, one policeman, because he killed a black guy, but it was caught on film. And this is supposedly the first cop in Chicago in many years who's been prosecuted, even though so many killings happen of people usually of color or minority by cops, police officers. And Chicago has quite a bad record of never prosecuting them, but because this was caught on videotape and we got a lot of publicity all around the country, this one guy was finally punished. But so many, hundreds of them over the years have gotten free with no legal punishment, and many times they've killed people who didn't deserve to be killed. So this is the material world. So Krishna is called, we know in the Kaliya pastime of Krishna and the Kaliya serpent, he's called Kaliya Damana. He has this ability to, Damana means to control or curb or cut down. So Krishna controlled and humbled Kaliya, this great serpent, powerful serpent. So Krishna is also known as Dusha Damana. He curbs or controls or cuts down the demoniac. And there's another name for Krishna, Indriya Damana. He can help us if we take his assistance. He can help us control our senses. Keshavananda said that a human being is distinguished from an animal because he controls his senses. And a Brahmana is controlled. A devotee is distinguished from the average human being because he knows the absolute truth. The Brahmana knows the truth and works to establish the truth. And then a Vaishnava is distinguished from some Brahmanas because the Vaishnava wants to serve. Some Brahmanas are impersonalists. They have that tendency to gain knowledge but not to serve. They may not know the distinction between Brahman, Par-Brahman, Paramatma, Jiva. They may blur the distinction. So, as devotees, we're trying to be servants. So, Dantavakra and Vidura were. Dantavakra was, I guess, one of Shishupal's brothers. He attacked Krishna later on, and he got killed by Krishna. I think Krishna hit him on the chest, and he died that way. Vidurath attacked Krishna after Dantavakra's death, and Krishna killed him with his Sudarshan chakra. So Krishna is Dushtadamana. He always controls and curbs the miscreants. Parishnanaya sadhanam vinashaya chadushritam. The dushritis, the impious, asuric. Always think of the word asura. It has, without the A in front of it, means demigod, but with the add the A, it's the opposite. So even within a asura, there's a sura, S-U-R-A. There's a demigod within, because our nature is ultimately we're from Krishna. So ultimately it's easier to be a devotee than to be a non-devotee. And you can back that up with statistics because 3/4 of the living entities or spirit souls are in the spiritual world. So the minority are in the material part of the Lord's creation. And when their plan making and activities are against the plan of the Lord, they get a lot of resistance, just like Krishna gave so much resistance and ultimately defeated Rukmini's plan. So ultimately it's easier to go with the flow than to go against the flow. Go with the flow means just go with Krishna's plan. Go with the flow means go with Krishna's ideas, not our own materialistic ideas. Go with the flow is to not see with material vision, but with Shastra Chakshu, with the eye of Scripture. Go with the flow means to cooperate with the devotees, because we can't do so much on our own, but working together, we can, make some impact. But there's always more demons than devotees. Like there were more soldiers on the side of the Kauravas in the Battle of Kurukshetra than on the side of the Pandavas. And so it's not always easy to work with other devotees. Every devotee has different personality when you look at it, coming from different parts of the world, different moods, different strengths and weaknesses. But Prabhupada said if we can work together, that'll show our love for him. And somehow, despite all the ups and downs of Iskcon and all the troubles, all the false egos of devotees, because we're in a process that is going to wear down the false ego, at least we're trying to serve Krishna. We may chant poor rounds, but just the holy name itself, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's the declaration of war on Maya. It's the declaration of, so even if someone is chanting not so perfectly, at least they're chanting the right thing. At least they have the right sambandha, the right understanding of who they are and what the goal is. And the spiritual master is giving the abhideya, the instructions how to come to the goal, which is the love of God, prayojana. So at least the devotee is in the right boat. If you get on an airplane that's going to Vrindavan, you might change your mind once you're on the plane, but once you're on the plane, you can't get off. So we should somehow stay on the plane or boat of Krishna consciousness. Try to work with other devotees. If it's hard, then do something that inspires us. And don't work against the devotees, but do something that inspires us. Work with devotees that we can work with. Try to be a positive influence. Brahmana makes the place better than it was before he came into the place, or he or she came. So we should try to make the temple or whatever project in Krishna consciousness we have a little bit better by working in a positive spirit. And so Shishupal, who's supposed to get married, has anything but a positive spirit towards Krishna. He's famous for insulting the Lord at the Rajasuya Yajna of Maharaj Yudhisthira. And he even insulted Bhishma Dev. He started lipping off and criticizing Krishna, and Bhishma Dev tried to shut him up. And Bhishma Dev was a great devotee of the Lord, so then he even, besides blaspheming the Lord, he blasphemed Bhishma Dev. He said to Bhishma Dev, you took this big vow of celibacy, but I think that you took that just because you're impotent anyway. So for Kshatriya, that's very insulting language from Shishupal. So Shishupal, when he was born, he had 3 eyes and 4 arms, they say. And when he was as a little infant, he screamed and brayed like a donkey. And a voice from the skies prophesied that he would be really powerful and fearless. But the voice said that the child's extra arms and eye, the extra eye, would disappear when he was placed on the lap of the person who was going to kill him, which was Krishna, I guess. But then Krishna gave him some slack. He told Shishupal's mother, don't worry, I'll tolerate 100 offenses by your son. So I'll give him a lot of slack. But when Shishupal crossed that line and did the 101st offense, then Krishna finished him off. So we don't want to make more offenses. We may make some offenses in the process of doing devotional service, but we shouldn't go beyond the line. We should try to stop these offenses, try to stop these aparads of chanting, of serving the deities. There's always ways we can do it wrong. So we have to take inspiration from the devotees to do it right. We have to read Prabhupada's books. We have to try to learn what is a devotional mentality. Because we all have the Sura and Asura within us. So we fan the spark of the divine nature and kind of neglect the material things. And then gradually, it's a very gradual process. We can't give up all of our bad habits immediately, but just by staying on the boat of Krishna consciousness, then we can overcome our demoniac natures. So one other person that's mentioned was Pondraka. A lot of Prabhupada's purports, he talks about people wanting to be like God. So Pondraka took this very seriously, and I think he put on two artificial arms so he looked like Lord Vishnu and dressed up like Krishna. And he challenged Krishna. He's mentioned as coming to the wedding also. Later on he challenged Krishna, and Krishna killed him. So, to go against the flow doesn't work. So it's kind of like if you're on the plane and you try to get off the plane, it's not going to be very congenial. You might parachute out of the plane at 30,000 feet, and you probably die from being at that altitude. Damodar Shran, our devotee, Prabhu's good husband, he went to Nepal and Tibet, and he was at very high elevations. He went to places like Muktinath, then he went to Kailash. He went to the highest lake in the world, and he could hardly breathe. He said just taking a few steps he'd have to stop and catch his breath. So I forget where I was going with that. Oh yeah, so getting out of the airplane at 30,000 feet is like, that's good, thank you. It's like, there's no oxygen at that high elevation, so it's better to stay in the controlled environment of devotee association. Prabhupada said, I created a house by which the whole world can live, or at least the devotees can live. Maybe the whole world will take a little time to come along, but if we stay in the place where we can breathe, like in some parts of the world, they sell oxygen masks, like in Tokyo, a place where there's a lot of pollution. Even Delhi is now one of the most polluted cities in the world for air pollution. But staying in the temple environment, staying in the association of devotees, we can actually breathe. The association of devotees is like I think Keshavananda was talking about Garuda has these beautiful, powerful wings, and we get when you come close to the ocean, you start to feel the cool breeze. So this material world is Saradava, it's very hot. So we have a planet of global warming, but staying in the association of devotees, Prabhupada describes devotees as cool-headed. So all these demons who came to the wedding of Rukmini Devi were anything but cool-headed, and it led to their destruction. So if we just serve Krishna nicely and be cool-headed, it'll lead to our transformation from asuras to suras, or from demons to devotees, or from caterpillars to butterflies. I guess that's pretty much some of the points on these verses. Anybody have any comments on the demons who came, and any questions with them? Yes?
You said that Prabhupada said the world is full of cheaters and the cheated. Where do devotees go after?
And what? Cheaters and the cheated, and then what?
So where do devotees go after the cheaters go after?
Well, devotees are trying to be, what the opposite of cheated is to give more than they deserve. Like, my wife is a doctor, so it's a business, but every once in a while she will treat a devotee for free, or she'll treat a person who doesn't have much money for free. So that's the opposite of cheating, to help a person. Cheating means it takes more than you. Shishivada Nila Madhava Ki. Cheating means to take something that one person deserves and take it away from them unfairly. But the devotee has the merciful attitude to give someone more than they deserve. Like we take one step towards Krishna, he takes many towards us. Devotees, some people come and don't do any service at all, but just take prasadam and, hang out. So, but rather than kicking them out of the temple, devotees might engage them in service after a while, or help them gradually to do something for Krishna. So the devotee gives them more than they deserve sometimes, and that encourages them, and they may make advancement. But at the same time, we can't let everyone live in the temple. Like Prabhupada said, we don't want lazies and crazies. So Iskcon can't take everybody into the temple to live, but there are many stories of people that were very spaced out who did live in a temple, who changed their nature and developed really good qualities. But we have to protect Iskcon also, so some discrimination has to be there. But the devotee gives mercy, which is just the opposite of cheating. Like the Kauravas cheated the Pandavas out of their rightful inheritance, and the Pandavas, they had a dice match, which there was actually cheating involved in the dice match. Pandavas lost, but they followed the conditions of losing the match. They went to the forest. They developed their Krishna consciousness in the forest. They never lost faith in Krishna. So even though they were cheated, they remained nice devotees. They didn't try to get material revenge. They wanted to get what they rightly deserved. So devotees' mentality is very different from the very powerful materialists. So devotees are trying not to be thieves, but maybe there's a little, when we first become a devotee, there's a tendency. Some devotee, I forget who it was, they said that when they first in the temple, they stole some Mahaprasadam. And then they got some realization later that it wasn't the right thing to do. What's that story? I forget who that was. Somebody wrote a book and they described how they stole Mahaprasadam, and then Prabhupada gave them some Maha or something later and looked at him right in the eye. Who was that? Bhakti Sundar Maharaj, right. He told that story, how he was in Venezuela, just a new person in the temple. He thought, there's these sweets, maybe I'll grab a few. And then later, when Prabhupada initiated him, he says, your name is Jagat Chakshus Das. That means, he said, what does that mean, Prabhupada? Jagat means the universe, and Chakshu means the eye. So that means that Krishna, he sees everything you do. And he had just told him the Maha that recently before that. So then he realized that Prabhupada and Krishna knows So we can't cheat Krishna, but materialists are trying to. Even when we start practicing Krishna consciousness, we may have some cheating propensity still in our nature, but as we chant and hear and get association, that'll go away gradually. Okay, thank you very much. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaura Bhaktivinda ki.